Hey friends, this is Allison Rhodes, and you've tuned in to an episode of Journey to Wellness. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Journey to Wellness. Today I'm going to talk about negative self-talk and how we can fight back. If there's one thing that I know, it's that everyone at some point in their lives, if not every day, then every week, everyone experiences negative self-talk. No matter if you're bouncing out the walls, all positive all the time, everyone has those thoughts, and they may not share them, or they may, but either way, it doesn't matter. What we can do is fight back against those thoughts with positive thoughts about ourselves, positive thinking about certain situations, and that's why I wanted to make this video today, because I made a list of questions we can ask in those situations so we have something to use as our weapon. So one of the negative thoughts that I tend to get a lot, first of all, I'm a worrier. I worry if I'm annoying, if I'm putting someone out, that kind of stuff. And so I tend to hear the thought in my head a lot that tells me I'm an annoying person and that nobody likes me. If you tell yourself something like that long enough, that's what you're really going to believe about yourself. It can start happening with more thoughts and different situations, and pretty soon you're feeling pretty bad about yourself. Like this video if I'm in good company. Once we realize what is finally going on, that it is our own thoughts that are making us depressed and feel down, and you want to do something about it, well, this is the first thing that you can do proactively. I mean, there are many things that you can do, but this is a change that you can start within yourself on your own time, and you don't have to wait on anybody else to do it for you. You have to do it yourself. So on my list here, it applies to negative thoughts and negative situations that you encounter and what you think in response to those situations or thoughts. So what I want you to do is think of a negative thought or a negative situation that you've encountered recently, and think about how you have handled it, or you did handle it. And I want you to pause the video right here, and as soon as you come up with something, you can resume. So now that you're back, I'm assuming you have something in mind. You might not have even had to pause the video to think of something, because for a lot of people, they encounter things every day that are negative and make them think negatively about themselves. So first on my list is the question, am I being realistic? Is my negative thought about myself or about the situation logical? So analyze what has happened or what event brought on your negative self-thought, and then I want you to ask yourself that question. Is there evidence that the thought is true? Which most of the time, there's no evidence. But on the other hand, you have to think about, if there's any evidence that the thought is not true, which most of the time it's not true. We just turn the things around in our head, and we tend to like to beat ourselves up, and I don't know why we do that, but we do, and I speak from experience. Another question that you could ask is anything about this thought based on facts? Because when we start twisting our thoughts, we get farther and farther away from being facts and twisting it into something that's not even close to the truth. So, make a list of your facts, if there's even any facts, or is it just your own interpretation? I mean, that can have a lot to do with what's spinning around on the wheels in your head. Also, notice whether you're jumping to conclusions about something or, thinking about what ifs. I know that can cause me a lot of anxiety and a lot of my friends' anxiety. We always think about the what ifs, the coulda, woulda, shouldas. And those what ifs, they haven't even happened. And so we just have to try so hard not to think about the what ifs, because we need to just work on being present in the moment, because you're here. You're here now in this moment, and just because you think something might happen doesn't mean that it will. Okay, so now we've started to evaluate the negative thought coming into your head. And so now what? Do we just let it keep floating around in there, ruining our day? No. What we're going to do next, my second point, is to start thinking productively. And what I mean by that is not allowing the thought to continue to spin around in your head over and over and over. And it also allows other thoughts similar to that to join the party. And it just becomes overwhelming and can lead to sadness and depression. And you know what comes next. So anyway, to think productively, what I want you to ask yourself then is this thought or is this type of thinking helping me in this situation? Or, you don't have to be in a situation. Is it helping me, period? And the answer is going to be no, it's not helping. Okay, so now we know it's not helping. So what? Once you've established that it's not helping you, because it's not, think about how you can fix the problem. If it's coming from a negative situation, like, for example, lately I have been, let me just say, I have stopped talking to a certain family member, and that was the decision I made that started from a thought. And the thought was that I was a bad daughter. The truth is that I am a damn good daughter, and I don't deserve what I had happen. And that thought snowballed in my head, and I finally realized that I needed to do something about it because I could not let it continue. So I kind of did what I just discussed with you guys about, questioning whether it's realistic or to look for the evidence or the facts, and there was none. Because, you just have to be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. There's no point. It's not going to help you. So to fix the problem, I started brainstorming of solutions, and to make a long story short, the solution was for me to put a boundary there and not talk to her. I haven't decided for how long, maybe forever, maybe not forever, I don't know, but it's my choice. And it's something I'm proactively doing. It's a choice that I made to help me with my happiness. Ever since I had this chat with myself about if there was any evidence or not, I haven't really had the thought. And the more I think about the situation, the more I commend myself for making this difficult decision that in the end, though hard, will help me. Okay, so we have, am I being realistic, and all the thoughts, the questions that go along with that. We're trying to think productive, and we're trying to decide whether or not the thought is helpful, which it's not. And we're trying to think about how to fix the problem or come up with a solution. Something's got to change. Something's got to change in the way you think to get rid of these negative thoughts. And so once you come up with a solution in your own head, you don't have to share it with anybody, but or you can. Support is great when you can get it. It also helps to ask yourself what other ways you can look at the situation. Because if you're stuck in that negative thought pattern, it's really hard to see life from any other viewpoint. If you can come up with other ways of looking at things, it doesn't seem as bad. And that doesn't apply to every situation, obviously, but most of the time, if you start looking at other people's viewpoints or different viewpoints, it's not going to seem as bad. That kind of leads into my next point, which is use different points of view. It helps to think about also if you were in a good mood, if you were feeling positive, or even someone that you know that's positive, what would look different about that thought or that situation? Could you picture seeing the situation through someone else's eyes? I think that has a lot to do with how hard we are on ourselves also, because we tend to be a little more negative. Well, for me, it's a lot more negative to myself than to anyone around me, and that's not fair to you or me to be that way. So try and see it from different points of view. Try and get other people's perspective on it. But the last point I want to make is that we need to take a look at the bigger picture. How important is the situation? Is it really worth making a big deal out of it, or spending a lot of my emotions and my time thinking about it? I mean, you know, is it worth it? When you're taking a look at the bigger picture, what helps me is to start thinking about what is good in the situation. It's really, really easy to sit there and think about everything that's negative. That's counterproductive to what we're trying to do. We want to think about positive things. And so then I want you to think about the best, the worst, and what is most likely to happen. Because that kind of ties in with the the what ifs and the shoulda, woulda, couldas. And a lot of these thoughts come from fear of what could potentially go wrong. And so first, identify that. Identify what you're afraid of, what fear or whatever it is started the thought. And that could potentially be the worst that could happen. But think about, you know, the opposite end of the spectrum. What's the best thing that could happen? Because in reality, you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. And so don't worry your pretty little mind on something that you don't know, okay? And I'm just saying that because I wish somebody would have told me that a long time ago. Okay, so just to recap the 4 points, ask yourself if you're being realistic. Try and start thinking productively. How can you change? How can you learn from the situation? Get a different perspective, different view on it, a possibly more realistic view. And finally, take a look at the bigger picture and see, you know, is it going to matter? What's the worst, best thing that can happen? And what's probably going to happen based on your life experience? And finally, what I want to tell you guys is to be nice to yourself. Be nice to yourself. I mean, you are with you every second of every day. You can't beat yourself up. You can't treat yourself like crap when you would never treat your friends like you would treat yourself. So please, before you start hating on yourself, think about whether you would treat your best friend that way. Because at the end of the road in recovery, from whatever you're going through, you want to love yourself. Anyway, that's all I had for today. I'll try and do these more often. I know I always say that, but I'm busy in school. I have 1 year left to get my bachelor's degree, and then I'll have a lot of free time to come on here and chat with you guys. So thank you for watching this episode of Journey to Wellness. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And you can also subscribe to my channel because there will be more. And also check out my music. I like to do these videos, but I love doing music. And if you have any other questions about anything I talked about today, or want to ask me about, you know, what my experience is with it, and, you know, any advice, feel free to message me. You can follow me on Twitter. I'll make sure and put my information below, or you can leave a comment and we can chat. So I want you guys to have a wonderful weekend, being nice to yourself and thinking positive, and I'll see you next time. Love you.